Friends, in this video I'm going to build some workshop. Let's do some exercise where we can do some logical building. So I'm going to create a new class, package new class. So this is a class here. So I'm going to create a main method here. Short key is control space and enter, then it will generate. All you need to do is type in main. So here if you want to print something, you can just write system. We went through the other video, the beginning video. Let's build some if clause, okay? Loops. So here one of the main reason you need to do some logic building is because you wanted to do different actions based on the conditions, right? So you may not always want to go to the capital city, right? You may want to go to some little town, village, and these are part of the requirements. So based on your requirement, you wanted to do some different actions. So that is the main purpose. You are trying to build up the logic. So if you think about the applications or web applications or your window-based applications, any performance that you do, right, they are all built upon the logic. So for example, you are trying to log into the computer and you are entering wrong password, then it should block you from doing it. If you're trying to build up, if you are passing the correct keys, then you should be able to enter in. That is one part of logic. So when you go on the web browser, you try to log in as a different user, then that should take you to the different locations. If you're trying to log in as a suspended user, you should not be able to log in. You should instead see some message. So these are part of the logic. So let's get exercise so we can go on. So you have a method here. So there are videos to know how to create a method, so please follow to those. So I expect that you already have that. So I was just trying to build up some method here so that you can get on your own. So public void, it doesn't really have to public because you are just writing here. So let's write a method here. So method, this could be like if example. So this is the method I want to write. So if you just do right click, create a method, it will create a private static. Private is by default when it generates, it will think that this is only being used in this class. Static is because I'm not passing an object, otherwise I should have to create an object of this class, and then I need to call object dot the method name, right? If I remove this, I should be writing logic buildings L equals new logic building and L dot. Yes. And then here if you see void and the furthermore is the name of the method. So if I want to do just kind of if loop, right? So I would say hello berry. Okay, if you wanted to just say hello berry and you try to run this, run as Java application. So it will print out, obviously it would say hello berry here. Hello is coming from here, which is a main method. I can remove that. So right now what it is doing, it is going to the main method, and main method is going to invoke this method and it will do what this method is asking to do. So pretty much this method is being surrounded by this curly braces and it will do every actions that is being done here. So now next step. So you don't want to do just a berry, right? Sometimes you may want to do have user pass what it wants. So for that case, you will just write some parameterizers. So you would do string name, right? Now if you do name here, you are trying to parameterize. What parameterize means is you are telling that user to pass the data for you. So the name is not that what you can hard code. This is called hard coding. So you would just replace whatever user is passing with that value. So right now you have a hello, and then now what happens, when you try to call this method, you have to pass this argument, which is what we call parameterize. So here you can pass not very Sherry, right? You can also pass any name that you want. So now that Barry is being replaced with Sherry. So now if you see the Sherry is there. Now if you see the benefit of this is if you think like anybody who logs into the application may be different. So this can be Bob, right? They would be going through same method again and again, but what is happening is this message is being changing. This is being changing because the users are passing different things. So now if you think from the aspect of the program, you're logging in as a username called Sherry. So when she logs into the application, it should say welcome Sherry. Same thing happens to the Bob. When Bob logs in, it would say hello Bob and blah blah blah, right? But whatever user logs in, it is not going to ask making changes on the code. Code is still same because they're not hard coding. Hello is coming from the code, but the name is coming from the user who logs in, right? So this is kind of logic that we need to think of. Do not hard code anything that you think you would need in future, right? Hard coding is considered one of the bad practice. So try to make things parameterized so that you can reuse it again and again. So now with this one line of statement is going to take care of every user who's trying to log in, right? So if you want to run this, just run it. So now you can see multiple users name, and here all we did is we just passed those values here, right? So this is one way of doing the things. So what are the other things that you can actually change this value? You can do this with the help of something called constructors. See that? So when we talk about the constructor, so let's just create one new class, okay? Class which is called users roles or users demo. Here what we do is we want to create some constructors. So what constructor means, if you do not define anything here like this is, then what it calls, it will create a default constructor. So in order to avoid that, we're trying to create the constructors. So what we do is every time somebody is trying to create an object of this guy, they will have to pass in the values as we are asking. So now if you see public users, right? So like that. Now what happens? Anybody can create a users. But now if I say, so let's create some variable which are called private. So private string. Maybe there are two variables, right? So what we want user to pass this values, and then we want to use of that. So what happens here is we have to create a getters and setters. So for that, let's do that. So string username equals, okay, these are called constructors. Now what we are not making use of this, so we need to create a getters and setters. If you see here, you can have a create a getter and setters, okay. Similarly, address, create a getters and setters. So what these getters and setters do is it will set these values, okay. So now when I come here, we are not doing anything else beside these only four things: get username, set username, okay. So now when I come here, and if I want to do the same thing here, this is the method here, but we want to just remove this now. We want to do something better. So here, if I want to create an object of that, right, so which is called users demo, new you do that here, you will see the error. If you see here, add arguments to match the user's demo. So if I have to add these values, I cannot pass null. Well, I can pass the null just to get away from the compiler error. Otherwise, I have to pass the exact values that I want. If you see here, in the parameterize, what it is asking, first value is the username, second is a user address. So let's pass that. Those are strings. So username can be Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan can be from where? Minnesota. Same thing, right? So you can do this multiple users. Okay. It can be, if you want another user, just write another user. Okay. So this could be, okay. So here it is. Now what this one is doing, it is already setting up Bob Dylan as the name. So if we come back to this class username, what we're saying is we are already passing this argument into the constructor. So username is being already set. So now what I can do is I can say I want to print out the user dot get username, right? Dot get username. Now it is going to print me the username. Run as application. Okay. So the username Bob Dylan is been printed. So now if you see here, we do not have any code at all. No methods. This data is being passed from the constructor. So earlier what we did, we just said create a method here inside and then we were using it. In the reality, the program would work like this. So you would be logging into the application and that is going to set all of these values into the object, which is called users object. So these are called the object. Object is basically the representation of some class, right? So similarly, I can do user one. I can do user one. I can run the same thing, and now if you see, all three names are coming here. All I could do is I could use get username. So when you do get username, it is going to go into this method, but this method is not directly called. This is called based on the argument, and that argument is actually storing these values. If you see here, private username does not have any value here, but what we are saying is whoever's calling this username, they need to pass some form of username and the address, and make sure this has to be exact same order. Now you are passing, the first argument is the username, second argument is the address, right? So what we're saying is whatever you pass from there, that then set this to the local value, right? Now once you set that, what this will do is this will set all of the values back to that correct. Now you can also do this, instead of this dot set, you can just do this dot username, more explainable, equals that, and then remove this braces here. Now what you do, you can just say user address. So now you will be clearly understanding. So this value is basically coming here, it is setting that value, and even if the other way is the same thing, it is invoking this method instead, and it is asking that value to be passed, and what it is doing, it is internally doing the same thing. Okay, so that is pretty much how you would be able to do the same functions with all different aspects. There are all other different approaches to set the values, and if you talk about the testing, there are even more ways how you can set these values, but pretty much there are various ways. This is one of the ways, and continue to the next video, we'll show more of the other options. So we'll go from there. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you like this video, please subscribe my channel, and we'll look forward for more and more videos. Thank you.